The owner of this iPhone was in a severe car crash and did not respond to the phone. The emergency location is latitude 39.3411, longitude -84.2689 with an estimated search radius of 6 meters. This message will receive in 5 seconds. The owner of this iPhone was in a severe car crash and is not responding to their phone. The emergency location is latitude 39.3413, longitude -84.2688 with an estimated search radius of 200 meters. This message will repeat in 5 seconds.
This is like some James Bond stuff. Either way it goes, this is a new safety feature on the new iPhone 14 that everybody should get their hands on because you want to be keeping up with the trends, don't you? Well, there's some new features. Crash detection is one of those things. In case you get yourself in a serious car accident, your iPhone will check and see if you're okay. If they get no response, they're calling the cops. So the only problem here is you heard the screaming in the background. That was not more folks screaming, "Get out of the car, she's dying." It's people on a roller coaster, because that was the crash that was detected specifically at that one that where dispatchers were called to Kings Island Amusement Park in Ohio because people were taking some serious turns and centrifugal forces on their bodies on a roller coaster. I want to call it the Karen upgrade because it calls the cops and nothing's really wrong anyway. Either way it goes, let's go to more from this crash detection information and the way this whole thing works on this iPhone and why it maybe failed in this particular case. So Apple rolled out this crash detection with the new iPhone 14, the Watch Series 8 SE and Ultra last month. This equips the devices with a gyroscopic sensor and high G accelerometer trained on the impact experience with simulated car crashes. So if these sensors detect that you've been in an accident, your iPhone will display an alert and call emergency services if you don't dismiss it in 20 seconds. I think that's a little short, but who knows, man, this could be a serious situation. So here's what happened as far as this phone call to this amusement park. So on a September Sunday, Sarah White and her family headed to Kings Island Amusement Park outside of Cincinnati. This 39-year-old dentist zipped her 2-day-old iPhone 14 Pro securely in her fanny pack, buckled into the Mystic Timbers roller coaster, and enjoyed getting hoisted 109 feet in the air and whipped around at over 50 miles an hour. It's a good speed. And afterwards, she looked down at her phone, and the lock screen was lined with missed calls, voicemails, and an emergency dispatcher asking if she was okay. And according to this 911 report, a team was sent to the ride but didn't locate any emergency. So when Ms. White realized what happened, ironically, when she was in line for the bumper cars, she called back the number and said, "No, I'm okay. It was just a roller coaster, you guys. Calm down." Now, she's not the only person because this happened six times at the same amusement park. So either there's one thing that this thing is super sensitive and it's making sure everyone's okay, or these rides at this amusement park are a little bit heavy. We talked about it off air before we jumped in here, though, and our producer Emily was like, "Well, I mean, if things are a little bit dangerous, it makes you wonder if you're gonna make it out alive. What's the point of a roller coaster?"
Yeah, that's why I don't get on roller coasters. That's a one. I'm good. I did the Nitro. There was like this tradition in high school after like at the end of senior year, everybody would go to Six Flags. I think I got on the Nitro, and that was the last roller coaster I've ever been on. I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. Simulating death is just not something that I want to get into. But what I will say about this technology is they're just rolling it out for the first time on this phone, and I want to be patient. I want to give grace to iPhone and Apple because think of something like text message, which is just ubiquitous now in our experience in our lives. But I'm old enough to remember T9. Y'all remember how difficult it was to send text messages? Now we're sending voice notes, videos, pictures, we're reacting to individual messages. Like this technology has come so far from where it was in the very beginning. So I'm willing to give this tech some time to develop because text messaging was god awful back in the days and it was expensive as hell. We was getting charged per text back in the days. You know what I mean?
The kids don't get it. We had to limit how many texts, how long you talk on the phone. Oh my God, I'm hitting my minutes. I'm hitting my minutes, you guys. Hey, hold up, I gotta get out the phone. Hey, just page me. By the way, texting didn't start with phones. We were texting on pages, bro. Like to a limited degree. I knew what you were saying from that sequence of numbers you shot at me. I know what's going on. I ain't gotta wait waste my 35 cents in this phone.
And so we got to give it time for them to perfect this. But I just do want people to humbly remember the nastiness we was doing on them Nokia phones and calling it text. It was terrible.
No, they did want to point out, yes, the iPhone 14, let's not slander them too much. Yes, this crash detection did help folks that did get into serious accidents when they were unresponsive. So there is a usefulness of it. And they said they're gonna tweak it and make sure everything still works. It's the beginnings of it, as you did point out. They'll get there, but still, Team Android. I'm allowed to text and I'm allowed to fix words without having to go through an entire process. It drives me crazy. I got 7 other things to say about iPhones, but we're not even gonna get into that. I think I've already won this case.